Peace be upon you. The Lovers in reverse. The Wheel of Fortune, upright. Ah, yeah. The Chariot in reverse. 3 major arcanas from the Shimhan Farash, the upper realms. 2 reversals, 1 upright. It's all about now. It's all actualized. It's been a while to see 3 major arcanas. There seems to be a lot of resistance when it comes to what you felt, or you felt you've always known, or wished to achieve in the future, goals, aspirations, pursuits, plans, expectations, your visions for your whole entire life's purpose. You are being led astray. There's a reason why there was so much resistance. And I'm sorry, but the Chariot in reverse, the Lovers in reverse, this is saying no. If I've ever seen a clear no, this is it. No. The 6 of Swords. The Magician, major arcana, 2 uprights above and below from the Goetia. Wow. We're doing the Star of David. Knight of Swords, movement forward. Knight of Pentacles. Knight. So, wow. Knight of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles. Left and right. There's only also the guidance indications here are extremely clear. Ace of Swords. Hidden or judgment. Extremely important information, piece of information, insight, revelation, vision that you're getting that is absolutely, completely out of nowhere. It seems to be divinely inspired, as if a beam of light just hits you out of nowhere. You're enveloped by this knowing, by this clarity, by this understanding. A vision, the old vision, is substituted by another by simply, mocking it in the meantime by saying, look at you. This is what you wanted. This is what you're supposed to be doing. Wow. And here we continue with the King of Wands. And the world, major arcanas galore. High Priestess is in reverse. The foresight was, you know enough, in other words. Because the world here is the god from the upper realms, is the source of wisdom. Fountain of wisdom and gives success in all ventures, and it's upright. The King of Wands is God, the merciful judge, eloquence, and gives answers to those in doubt, if you are confused. And let's see what the underlying energy is. Teaches the virtue of herbs and stones, as I said, hidden or occult knowledge. Makes birth, alchemy, Gnosticism, Hermeticism, studying the occult or hidden arts. Makes birds appear and behave as though tame. You're coming upon some information, or rather some source of wisdom. As for this energy, number 6, Lelahel, and it's the praiseworthy God. Light of understanding, acquires knowledge and cures illness. So you were overtaken by something that was absolutely consuming you, rendering you incapable, stagnant, unable to move or act on anything. Wow. Okay. The Lovers in reverse is the joy of God. Your focus was in enamorment, romance, relationships, etc. Joy and pleasure brings happiness to couples, removes negative energy. So the pursuit that you had was based upon finding a counterpart. The issue is you went about it the wrong way. It's in your perception of what a romance is, what a relationship is, what union is, what holy matrimony is, partnership, union, integration, manifestation. You need both left and right. So you kind of instinctively knew that there's another part of you, right? So yesterday Jung came back to mind. I'm going to sound as if I'm completely obsessed with him, but I mean, he's so relevant now. And the scene about him meeting his soul. His soul was, of course, opposite to what he knew himself to be. So she appeared as a feminine, as his other half, complementary to him, therefore. So, sorry, it's Sasha with her bag. So he obviously did not marry his other half. But he knew there is no separation. He did his part, whatever that may mean. So he reconnected with his other half in the spiritual realm. And as a matter of fact, as he was going in the underworld, he found something he never even knew he was searching for. That's the whole point. You're not supposed to define what you're after. You're supposed to discover. The same way he always was keen on pointing out. You're not supposed to find per se, but again, discover, be revealed. So exploration with no expectation is the requirement. So the expectation here was so clear, was so burning, was so consuming, that wasn't allowing you to come into what was rightfully meant for you in order to fulfill your task. So the answers, the truth was all shadowed or covered by this bullshit over here. Pursuit of the wrong partner and so on, maybe pursuit of dangerous or painful or impossible circumstances, illusion, deception, so on, self-deception specifically, and constantly manifesting something that was the opposite of what you were supposed to be experiencing, exploring, doing, feeling, being. Wow. Now, in the lower realms, right, we have the Six of Swords. Travels all the world over in an instant, brings anything anywhere. So it's about, for you, you're seeking for some form. I know it's going to seem so redundant, and so just remember, all of us as a collective, we are all in mourning. So spirits play on our coping mechanism, on our attempt to escape whatever we associate with pain. But it's giving us all the opposite of what it could actually help us overcome pain, go through the stages and so on. It either teaches us that we can just, pretend it's not there, right? Or it gives us something that cannot actually help us with neither processing, integration, coping, nor progress. But generally speaking, it creates a division. Because I see Satan also as the divider, right? Forces of limitation, restriction. In between two people, there is darkness that needs to be substituted with light. Yeshua comes as the sun, right? Also why he was called, morning and evening star, or light bringer, and as opposite to what? Lucifer. Yet another one that is associated with Satan. He brings false light, right? Brings a light that rather than uniting, still divides. So it's darkness that masquerades as light. Now here, 70, travels all the world, as we said. Truth about thefts. Gives truth about thefts and hidden treasures. Everybody thinks if they only find that secret, they will be one step in front of everyone else. You see the division? Pursuit of knowledge, wisdom, light, and truth, right? But for all the wrong reasons. There's a hidden desire there. What made you want to seek for truth at any cost? And what truth are you actually seeking for? Is it your own? Are you genuinely seeking for truth? Are you just seeking for a truth that nobody else got, so that you can capitalize upon it, as many others have? The issue with that is, you're not going to be the only one doing so. It's the same with this phenomena, for example, preying upon the vulnerable, and whether they're a doctor, a healer, or whatever. So yes, even the best of people have been led astray in the sense. Everybody claims to have found the secret tool, the secret answer, the secret, right? Yeah, shut the fuck up, right? We're done with that nonsense. Each of us holds a piece of the truth. And that's the very reason on why one should be able, both instinctively and now even rationally, and just from a perspective of, productivity, efficiency, and right, recognize and understand the fact that we need one another, but not everyone with just anyone. There's an order to how we connect, whom with whom, at which time, for what purpose. Gives truth about thefts and hidden treasures. So here comes where they play on our savior complex. If I only find that, I'm going to be able to come out as a savior, right? A light bringer myself. Whereas here's the revelation. And willing to do anything, one commands. Who? Who commands? Who's behind it all? So all those who think that they're in control because they came across something that they can present as, they can use or capitalize upon as some form of a stronghold or power that they get to hold up over other, weaponize in some form. I know something you don't, and then just say it, bish, right? Just go out and say it. Say it. No. because I can make money out of it. I can exercise power over others. I can feed off of their need. But is it the person doing it, or is there a spirit somewhere in there that just enjoys, even under the guises of creating healing opportunities, unity and progress and enlightenment, and oh yes, where are the achievements? What do we got to show for it? Everybody's into spirituality. What do we got to show for it? What? Everybody's going mad? We can no longer work with anyone? They're trapped in their own little spiritual, enlightened selves? We cannot afford that either, because it's still ego, it's still division. It just portrays as something, higher or more knowledgeable or more an ascended, an illuminated, a chosen, whatever. It just became a new identity, a new false self. How does that help us? It doesn't. It's not supposed to. It actually strays us away from genuine spiritual insight pursuit, which can only be obtained through faith, that inner process, which is sacred for each of us, is extremely intimate, and it's our connection with the source, with the creator. And that's only blocked, if you want to, interfered with by the shadow, by evil inclination, our fallen self, which again, it's our job to tackle and work with. Now, let's go. The Wheel of Fortune. Current energy, advancement and progress, teaches, guides, and records events in the book of life. This also refers to genetics, generations, and how we are actually all just new versions. Everything is recycled here. So everything we receive is strictly based on merit. Merit, as understood from this perspective, has to do with what we've actually achieved, not what we want to achieve, not what we think we've achieved, but what we've actually achieved. And that's only judged or assessed based on our spiritual progress, on our integrity, on our values, on our level of faith, how much work we've done, not on our sainthood or sanctity, because even the saints themselves, had to go through a process. They also went in the hells. The sins and transgressions that they've committed are just mind-boggling, even unconceivable, horrendous. But the point is not trying to portray or become a saint, because that's when you will fail to become one. But rather, intention, right, makes a difference. Their heart was in the right place. They won over those devices, the inclinations, the spirits that took over them. They went through the stages, went through the hells, and all progress was achieved here in the physical. The battle was spiritual, but how did it translate in their actions, in their gestures, in their, right? So in other words, what we do should match who we are, or at least whom we're attempting to become. Example, you were a thief all your life, right? There will come a point when that will no longer fulfill you. A new desire arises. You have to move to the next degree. Something terrible has to happen. Usually you get arrested. Nature moves to kind of isolate, protect you, punish you in some form. It's how you perceive it, but it's giving you an opportunity to change something. And the thief, let's just say, gets locked up in a prison, and it's horrible, and it's has some form of an illumination. Why? Because he's in restriction. He's in limitation. He sees it as one would see, a cancer cell being isolated by white cells in an attempt to, restore it if possible. If not, at least you're not going to spread. And they have this revelation. They come out, and maybe they go join a monastery. Maybe finally they become the son their mother needed them to be all along. The father, a wife needed them to be all along. Either way, that couldn't have happened unless, again, they went through this stage. And guess what? He would be a far better father than anyone who took on that task without having fully understood what it means to fail being a father, the consequences of not being a father from the heart. So the difference in between one and the other, one makes a conscious choice. There's shame, there's guilt, there's right, a baggage that comes with that. But if they do make it, they're also going to be the most devoted, loyal, self-sacrificing, genuine father there that ever was. Of course, our perception will be, well, they made all of these mistakes and they don't have the right to just get away with it. They're not getting away with it. They did pay for it in turmoil and suffering, and they went to hell. And yes, they came back up, renewed. So they connect with fatherhood or being that father or son in such a manner that it's a different level altogether. They get to see what God intended them to do. They get to see how they should be a father beyond any egos. They will never dare to transgress father's will. They will be the father as according to what a father should be, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that a father that didn't go through this process, didn't achieve some form of a connection with the divine, wouldn't be a good father per se. Is I'm saying what does good actually mean? Because according to certain societal norms, yes, we agree there should be rules, but how many of those rules actually are in line with the divine laws, rules? How far have we drifted from what a father, for example, should be? For example, does a father get to determine his son's career? No, he doesn't. Does a father determine how his son should be, I don't know, thinking about anything in his life that's important or of any relevance to them? No. All he can do is instill his own values, but ultimately he has to understand that the next generation comes to bring updates, to test other boundaries, to conquer the other dragons, demons, right? Yet another battle, yet another opportunity for the entirety of humanity as a collective soul to level up, right? So they're going to have to explore. They have to have that freedom that they've been granted, that choice. Can the father prevent their son from getting hurt? Maybe up until a certain extent. But the moment the son is capable and able to start building their own relationship with themselves, the divine self within them, draw their own conclusions, make their own choices, then the father is kind of out of the picture. He still serves as a guide, a patriarch if you want to, or a protector, but can you actually prevent someone from sinning or transgressing or pushing the boundaries? Or no. You can warn them about what's going to happen. It's same like with the commandments. Can anyone truly impose them upon us, or our understanding of them, or for us to actually live by them? No, we should get to that point on our own. It's kind of what's happening. Us, as divine children, we are a clear example on why Father himself doesn't want us to follow him simply by mere forceful guilt, shame, or forceful circumstances alone. It has to be a choice from the heart. No one is forced to believe, but we saw the consequences of what happens if we don't. No one is prevented from transgressing, but we know the consequences of what happens if we do. So I just gave you an example, right? So advancement and progress teaches, guides, and records events in the book of life. All of us should be loving and assisting one another as a father would a child, as a mother would a child. We do our part. There we're called, where we from the heart, with no expectations, but we do not control, impose, expect, demand. We can try and call each other out, hold each other accountable, responsible. Hey, we're all in this together. Don't do this. It's going to affect us all, and so on. Each of us has conquered something, and we do have the duty, and we feel that, called to actually impart. Hey, I know that there's something like this over there. But if we're all just joined together in some form of a common pool of knowledge, right? None of us then pursuing to conquer their own. Everything is based on what the others before us, other versions, previous generations have conquered. How is that going to work for us? Where is the progress, I'm saying? So I'm all for knowing and what we've conquered before this, but also for understanding that yes, we will return to foundations in some form, but we've already come so far in terms of conquering so many other truths and levels of existence. And so how are we going to now integrate what we've conquered currently at this stage, this generation? How are we going to bring it back, right, to the, let's say, the collective library of wisdom, the Akashic? Are we going to bring it, each of us personally, coming like with myrrh and frankincense, like bringing it to the new human, right? The Redeemer, so to speak. Are we going to bring something or of any value? Or is it, hey, look, I recycled this from 3 years ago, 3 centuries ago, which, by the way, history is not that far long, timeline-wise, as we think it is. But anyway, here it is. Are you actually bringing me recycled fucking shit? Okay, I'm all for, let's go green here, but this is a bit too green for my taste, as in, couldn't have you just done something by yourself? Where's your gift? Where's the testimony of your battle? Where is the proof of your achieving to be what you were created to be? Where is your success? That's what I need. That's what I want. That's what I wish for anyone. And success, spiritually speaking, and just existential wise, is being and becoming, because we are in constant becoming, and that implies lots of dying, so hence so much, because the process is fastening, there's a quickening going on. Where is it? Where's the essence of your spirit, the culmination of you completing the task? That's what I need, even just not as an individual, but as as a spark of the collective soul. I need to see the spark in you. Where's the spark? You're bringing me someone else's? A dim light of what someone else was? You're supposed to be shining even fucking darn brighter. You're supposed to be the leveled up version of the previous versions of you. Where's the progress? So you fail the collective if you fail to be what you were. So it is some form of a betrayal to all of us. Anytime you choose to betray yourself, you're betraying us. And this is not to hold you by any means accountable or responsible. It's just, something to remember. And as I always said, if any of us ever owed anything to anyone, it's be exactly what they are. I mean, I don't need this book to be, a cutting knife, cutting board. We have that for that. Diversity, blessed diversity. There's something for each of all of the needs that we think we have. That's how we came to create all of this diversity. But now we have to find some integrity, as in the same way you're seeing it. I'll give you an example. The feminine now feels it more and more so to go into organizing, decluttering, removing, cutting down on things, back to essentials. You see it. It's the spirit. Okay, we get it. I could use 10 different oils to different times for my skin, right? But brilliantly, it's kind of a return to basics. But my grandma told me, if you use castor oil, you can use it for this, for this, for this, for this. A lot cheaper. It's easily sourced, etc. Right? Arguably, but yeah, debatable. But still, it's one bottle of oil. One. Not 10. Why do I need plastic containers? Look at all these jars. Consumerism, the good side of consumerism was that we actually realized that most of the things that we got are actually able to be repurposed. They're, they're actually repurposable. And here comes inventivity and creativity. And so there comes the challenge again. Who said that we need to do things the same way they were? Or who said that certain things can only be used in a certain manner? That's the opposite of, I understand that this is a booklet and it serves its own purpose. But who said I cannot use it every single day, for example, to actually get my own guidance? Which obviously I'm not allowed to, but I do get inspiration. And I open the same way I open the scriptures, I can open this booklet. And it led me to Keter, and it led me to the Spanish version, translation of it. Isn't that interesting? Right beneath it, there's the right eye. An example, the right eye. It leads us back to the coming of the prophet, understanding that we need one eye. Is it right in the center? Well, yes, supposedly, but it's telling you that you should be paying attention to those who have issues with one eye. But again, it's going to call you back to genetics. Something's off. Things are not what they appear to be. Usually, we know the symbolism of the right eye. If you saw iPad goat, for example, the prophet is also described the same way. The martyrdom of the children was also sacrifice of the innocent, has been, peace be upon them, has been also planned. And again, time does not unfold as we experience it. What will happen has already happened, was already in plan. The creation is complete. And the eye is usually use of some form of hormone, messing with the genders, hence the messed up sexuality, which will affect what? Our ability to be creators, creative, to reproduce. It's the fires, right, that they've messed with. So yes, when you see someone that has an eye smaller than the other, don't trust them. We all do to some extent. Let's not go into, conspiracy theories, but you know what I mean. Because you see, every time you transgress nature, nature has a way of never really fully allowing anyone to hide the truth completely. So it still has to be somewhere in plain sight. Why would, for example, a feminine need such intense hormone treatment, whereas it shows on their face by having one eye smaller than the other? It's truth right there in your face. That's not a woman. Right? Black for white, white for black. Messing with the binary. It's the code we needed. The Chariot in reverse, Cancerian energy here. Who is like God? Perseverance, success in conflict, and overcoming adversity. This is a spiritual battle against the dragon and so on. It's Michael, of course, and he's reversed. At this point, he cannot fight battles for those who are already made the choice to be on the other side. If anything, they're going to fight against the spirits that control you. So in your life, you will be experiencing failure because your dude over here is losing the fight. That's why you will not get what you were promised. They're losing. So you perceive it as Michael not being in your favor. It's nothing to do with you, it's rather against the principalities that rule over you. The Magician below the Wheel of Fortune, as above, so below, the other light bringer energy, gives health and financial prosperity, connects one safely with the divine. Safely. This use means going down, coming back up. This is mean integrating the evil inclination, knowing your ability to harm, knowing your ability to actually be overtaken by certain powers, but also understanding that you can always use said powers. So I'll give you an example. If Michael is fighting dragons, he's still of light, he's still using light. What makes the difference in between him and the other side, right? That is considered as darkness, evils, enemies of humanity and of God. Intention, purpose. He's doing so to liberate and free. But in order to do that, he has to restrict something else. So is he evil? Is he good? He's still destroying, isn't he? He's fighting. So all this peace and light does not work. You have to integrate any single potential, anything you can tap into. In other words, you can also get to use forces from the lower realms, but you use them, they don't use you. Hence why I'm flipping them. Okay? Because the world is flipped. The good is called weakness, for example, foolishness, and has been constantly preyed upon, and the terrible, the ones willing to do anything, are being praised and worshipped and raised in high places, and well, that's done. Fuck that. They are sitting on thrones that are not theirs. Knight of Swords, warrior of justice, of light, sent by the divine, a vessel, a tool. And he comes to bring, he speaks through action. His truth is revealed by his actions. He devotes his life to actually bringing useful tools, help, assistance, support, resources. And he's fearless. He's absolutely fearless. Lelahel and Daniel. The world, Dabamaya, fountain of wisdom and gives success in all ventures. The world is actually considered to be, a sphere, a level of existence, and there's a lower and there's the upper, right? And we are right here, cutting right across. Hence why we need to maintain the channel. Ay. You know what? I'm just going to leave you here. There's so much to say, but I realize that it's only for someone specific. And I'm not here to create any confusion or displeasure to anyone. Then again, I move past the ego. I deliver what I'm supposed to deliver. I myself, I'm in awe of this. This is a spirit that is such a degree, Metatron. So your current task, let's try and put it in a nutshell, even though it's not easy when doing this, so many messages. It's a magician in reverse. It means give up your own fucking control and become a host for the divine, vessel for the divine. Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu energy, right? And give up your attempt to control anything. You may have an experience such as a miracle right in front of your eyes, and you're going to struggle in trying to explain it to others. Guess what? You don't have to. You just put it there and don't be conditioned too much on whether they get it, whether they don't get it, but most importantly, what you get for it. So the wheel of fortune is destiny. You're stepping in your destiny. Whether you're a teacher, whether you're a healer, whether you are called to bring some messages, try and not fall into the trap that all others have, whereas they turn that into a personality, or they try to capitalize upon it, or they raise themselves above others, or no. Your role is just as important as anyone else's. Absolutely anyone else's. One more for you. The Page of Wands in reverse. It's the rude or challenging, or the student, the one in pursuit or supposed to be in pursuit for something. Let's call it the Gen Z, let's call it. But most importantly, the focus should be on Gen Alpha right now. Focus on the Gen Alpha. What do they get out of what we do? Right? So everything we do should be in the prism of doing our best, our part, in order to assist the first generation of the new world. Your message is, I am sufficient, I am meant to succeed, but again, careful how you define success. Your whole the entire existence of the souls depend on the certitude that it is enough. Being whole in and on its own, as a spark you are complete. It's not what we mean when we say you don't have a soul or we don't have a soul per se. We are a soul, so you are a spark of it, like a cell of whatever. But you in on its own, you're already complete. Much like any grain of sand, like anything that's ever been into existence, is complete for its intended current purpose in constant transformation. The whole purpose is, to move to the next stage. And yes, that implies, hence why we have laws such as entropy and atrophy. And in reality, they're transitioning, they have to die or decay, right, in order to transition to something else. And they also serve as a test and a proof to others. They're a proof of future for the younger generation. So what we representing, or what would expect the younger generation when they look at us, what message do we have to give them? So it's not only what we do in order to leave it to them when we're gone. What do we correct? What do we reinstate? What do we, completely shatter or let go of? But rather also what we represent, also individually. Do you feel that you are exactly, genuinely and authentically yourself? That's all that matters ultimately. You never know how this may impact someone else. You've got nothing to prove. You're like that elderly lady sitting at the window with her cat. Nobody knows of her existence anymore. Isn't that what she feels? Abandoned, forgotten, her life purposeless. I feel like that. Most of my life I felt like that. Yet it doesn't matter how we mourn or how we feel. It's what we do ultimately. What do we do to alchemize? If I know my problem is I feel no purpose, then I give it some. And my nature is in charge of that. I've been given a nature, some instincts, some passions, some inclinations, and also, yes, some limitation and things that I will not do. I have attempted to push those boundaries, and for various reasons, which are also extremely important, probably for the wrong reasons. And I was never meant to actually conquer certain things. But all the more reason why I should pursue, improving those that I have been granted, because that's where my purpose is hidden. But yeah, We have a nature to us, and that's all we can do is work on that. And that old lady sitting at the window with her cat, maybe there's a schoolboy passing by every single day. She has never seen him. She's looking out the window, but she's looking into nothingness. She's all on the inside. And maybe she was stuck on what the neighbor is doing. She's living vicariously. It's voyeurism. It's what we're doing as, when watching internet a lot of times. And that child will remain with that image imprinted in his mind. There will be a certain level of maturity and compassion and something, a voice there will always be at the back of his mind, his conscience, his higher self, if you want, his inner redeemer. He won't be so quick to bully once he passes 1 day, 2 days, 3 weeks. He looks around, he sees no one like this elderly lady, and he starts thinking, this is it? This is how we're going to end up? On the negative side, it may actually impact him to a level whereas he will decide it's not worth studying. Why? So I can end up like that elderly lady over there. But then again, maybe he loves cats and he decides, you know what, I'm going to do my best, but then again, nothing to prove. Live and let live. So he'll avoid all types of conflict, and maybe that's his role. So that he, in his old age, has done his part, his service to humanity. Married a good girl. Love had nothing to do with it. Had a good life. Was an honest person. Earned every piece of bread he put in his mouth. He was a decent person. Helped there where he could, but ultimately protected his own family. And by the end of it, there he is, sitting alone at the window. Maybe listening to the radio. Because he's obviously unique. And maybe he doesn't have a cat. Maybe he has dogs. It's just how it happened because their children, his children, love dogs. And there's a picture in the window of his wife. Is that it? He'll ask himself. He's not going to ask himself that because you see, he already knew that that was it. Somebody showed him many, many, many years ago. And he decided, yeah, I like that. That's my path. It's worth it. I think it's worth it. If I go through all of this, even if I perceive it as hard and difficult, but if I do it wholeheartedly and really put an effort in, I will get that. And that seemed so peaceful. And you see, his perception from the outside was like, well, she doesn't have to go to school, does she? Nobody's expecting anything from her. And yeah. You never know what who you actually authentically are is meant to teach others. And it's beyond good, bad, positive, negative, right? You may be the bully of the family, speaking of which, it actually helps the family maybe stick together more, try and find solutions on how to fix you, on how to, either way, we're all as a trial and as an opportunity and as a blessing unto anyone that is supposed to or meant to come on our path. So stop pursuing flying pigs, because even if you were to find them, they have nothing to teach you, you have nothing to teach them other than just more pain until you actually snap back to what you were supposed to be. You may make a coffee out of tea and call it coffee. You can call it mocha, latte macchiato. It's still not fucking coffee, is it? Free of, it's something, but yeah, just say you like tea and shut up about it. You don't have to fit in. Free of nothing, of suns, of billion suns, of fires, illumination. The cocooning position is telling us of that gestation period. So you have up until when Rosh Hashanah, No, not necessarily, because the cycle I saw was of 9 months, started back at Easter. We're going to follow the new calendar. And going back to culmination was now in July. I know you don't see it, but the most important events have already taken place. Now we're going to see the unfolded development, the effects of it, and the measures that are going to be taken, the reactions that have been brewing within people, and so on. And we see mice, a butterfly, and fish. So the spirit moved over the waters, and I see it rather as a, well, yes, a hexagon, because you see the star, right? Hexagram, if you want, sorry. The thousand suns, I see the clock, I see the zodiac wheel right here, which is what we are. So therefore the tribes. I see a frog, fertility. Do not eat any fish with no scales. The albino, which is back to a specific bloodline. We know of the blood, the blue and the red blood. What is blue and red? Left and right, sun and moon. Moon and sun, right? Butterfly is, of course, transformation. This is also used for MK, programming, and right, the shattering of one's spirit. You have to break their spirit. It's what they've used in the zoo. It's what they're used in the circuses through trauma. But the same way something works to break it, it's kind of what also works to release it. For example, if something precious is enclosed behind layers and layers and layers, you have to break them one by one. It's right. Where is he? Break them one by one, one by one. All the dragons that we personally had within us, which represents the collective dragons, each of us overtaken or fighting a specific one, whether it's addiction of some sort, or this or that, or fear of any sort. He comes to Knight of Swords to cut heads as well, right? Because that's why, Medusa had snakes. It's back to the ancient dragon. But it's also back to time, Ouroboros, so on. And one, which, by the way, it's supposed to be union, unity, completion. Hence why we associate one with the masculine due to its form and shape. Because as you know, both letters and numbers, hence why there's equivalence to them, especially in the Hebrew alphabet. And the shape of them, and it's all symbolism, and it's back to how it impacts us both individually, but within the collective. So the cocooning, it's saying the buffoonery is the various persona, the hats we wear, if you want. The red represents the passions, and this is the alchemized fire. So kind of much like a phoenix energy, or the shoes leads us back to ancient traditions and some form of nobility, and back to therefore the energy of the emperor is naked. And then we have birds as messengers and innocence, and birds that have been all around and not recognized as such, even though the spirit is the same. They're not doves, they're extremely colorful, but da mommy, tia mama, tia. Vila mama. Oh, she wants to say hello. Today we had an eye issue. Show them the eye issue, mama. And I had to torment her to put cream. So here you have it, a kiss from Misha as well. Sasha is the one kissing you. She never interacts with the phone. My cats do not like to be filmed. They absolutely despise the device. Yet they give me these beautiful concessions on their own. Their mama. How's the eye, mommy? Can I get a kiss? She's purring, yes. She forgave me. And we had an argument this morning because she did not want to eat. And she would never come to bother. That's just how they are. they wouldn't bother, but you know what I mean. No, we don't do that. XXX, it's only on OnlyFans, mommy. We need the money. We cannot do this for free. I got your behind. I got your behind, mommy. You know that. So it's the cocooning, it's the explosion, it's illumination, but coming as from a side, whereas you're looking in one direction. Eyes closed means going within. Light right outside. Once you open your eyes, you will see it. So red is the passions. There's a hidden magic box. Back to games, back to Jack in the Box. There's a lot of symbolism in that. Again, the albinos, back to redheads and the nature of the ancient giants. They also had distinctive signs because Cain was marked, right? But those who represent the problem may actually be the ones that save us. Whether it's David and Goliath, David being known as to be a redhead, but he defeated the giant. But the giants were necessary. They were part of the process in order to defeat other creatures, right? And then we decided to get rid of them once they were no longer useful, because they would have ended up destroying us. So what I was saying is, let's remember about the last reset. So birds delivered the message. Rats are known to be extremely resourceful, to find resources. So rats have survived, obviously. Butterflies have survived miraculously. Frogs have survived. And fish. Anything associated with fish. So basically, we think we purge and cleansed the earth. In reality, genetically, it did not happen, and we know that simply because, as it is, the corruption still got through one of the feminines that ultimately ended up giving birth to a child from the old bloodline, the corrupted bloodlines, and other creatures have survived simply because they were already living in the waters. They're not gone anywhere. They survived. So how do we bring them back up? Drought. Burning flames, another kind of a fire. With light, basically. The issue is the light burns all else that is not of light. So basically shatters the darkness. It expands. So genuine truth has the power to restore. To the downsides of that is, of course, anything that is not meant to be shall not be anymore. And in this process of enlightenment, enlightening and illumination, all the corruption is revealed alongside truth. One implies the other, right? So the nakedness and the fact that she's a feminine, and the fact that she has her head covered in a specific type of shoes, leads us back to the buffoonery and circus and the buffoon itself, harlequin spirit. If you know anyone who went back to clown culture, and that's such an ancient symbolism. In tarot you can associate with the fool, because anyone who has ever done attempted ayahuasca and etc., they know that the entities that they found in that realm, that frequency that ayahuasca opens up, are actually or either in black and white, right, in stripes, and it's why they use stripes for prisoners, and black and white checkerboards and so on. It represents duality. So basically you're trying to transcend duality in trying to achieve a counterfeit form of a union or integration. Integration can only be achieved truly on the wheel, here, in this process. There's a purpose on why we're here. So trying to transgress that leads you into the very spirits that cannot be polarized. So they exist either as some form of an androgyne, genderless, because they don't have the ability to procreate. They don't. So hence, in those realms, I don't know if you've seen Twin Peaks. The concept there is expanded in such a manner But yeah, it's not for everyone. Let's just say, I don't know why I mentioned that. I'm still kind of shocked on how close to what actually happens in, we call them the back rooms or the waiting rooms, or how that may translate in reality and so on, because obviously who did it has some insight, some personal insight, not just being an occultist. And no, he actually has some insight. He experienced some of those things. Either way, he met those entities, and how size, time works, right? And how we perceive it in reality is completely two complete different things. So that's where we get our clown and mocking and distorted perception of the buffoon, the fool, the jester, if you want. It can bring good news, it can bring bad news, depending, right? So here's to the nature of what I was saying, that anything can be used. The intention and the nature of your heart makes the difference. If you're not careful on what you're actually wishing for, what you're pursuing for, you're easily overtaken by something that's going to tell you it's for good, but by the time you get there, you may have, done so much evil that at that point, I mean, are you just going, oh, no problem, I'm just going to donate a bunch of money to someone, it's going to be fine? No, the process is extremely important. But this speaks about the ability of the buffoon to have a knowledge of themselves, whereas they're not even attempting to be anyone specific. Whereas at the same time, still finding a way to exist in the world by embracing a character that is so out of the ordinary, so original, so unique. But how unique is it when we have more and more of these buffoons? Let's call them superstars, or the stars of our world, the new gods. Not with a capital G, obviously, so-called, right? And he's trying to be outside of the system, connected with the all. But again, the fact that she's uncovered and she's dressed in red, back to scarlet energy, passions, fires, the enticement, she can obviously deceive most of the time. She will. She's not supposed to speak the truth, not because she's trying to deceive, but that's her role, to challenge other people's systems of beliefs, perception of themselves, not just to simply entertain. That was supposed to be the role of entertainers all throughout. So I guess what we're going to experience is our tendency to emulate or live vicariously through the new gods, entertainers, political figures, uh, will be challenged, in the sense that they will fall from our eyes, they will be taken down from their thrones, positions of either inspiration, even the influencers themselves, because again, humanity has tried to emulate that. Let's all be like the gods, right? So the fact that she has yet another star, and I'm sure that nobody notices on many of those games and the circus in general, the symbolism of it. And back to a reminder of us being stars, and the battle being in the heavens, and therefore the stages that humanity needs to go through. Then we have the wand, the magic wand. It also has to have the stripes, right, on it. Is it a cane? Is it a wand? What is it? Why are there two of them? And we see the Aries right below, as if where we think everything starts with, it's actually the end. Where we think the beginning is actually the end. The beginning needs to be hidden, because it always requires a leap of faith. And again, the covering leads us back to trying to mark, specifically in this case, those who had some knowledge, some actual spiritual divine inspiration, whereas they knew that certain parts of the body were more important than others. Hence the concept of washing and protecting the feet, and also enhancing the feet. So careful about the shoes that you wear, and especially for the sisters, learn and use some form of a head covering at least once when out and about. if you're going to protect yourself in order to go within. What I'm noticing here is that she has absolutely no hair. So careful about your hair, sisters. And I see invasions, I see locusts. I see a sun that is not behaving as we were expecting it to behave. And I see as if you're being surprised or struck from the right side. From the right side. So if you feel somebody's going left in the meaning of you feel for any reason this is not right, you're supposed to be going the other way. Except you decided to retreat altogether. Now the jester has a purpose and a role, right? To help someone right in that stage where they're extremely challenged about their own identity and personality and whatever. It's not about what you need to do. It's about rather what you associate what you do with what you think you need to be or you are, or right. If I do that, then what are people gonna say? What are people gonna think? What does that turn me into? And stop associating the two. Do what you gotta do. It's an important stage for you because the fact that we have two wands, because that's why I wanted to I felt there's an associations with strongly with something, the two wands. Just the reason of the scales, it's kind of scaly aspect is of course snakes, you throw it and it turns into a scale, but it can also do miracles. So hence occult wisdom, knowledge, etc. It's feminine. That's why she's portrayed as a feminine. I don't know about this feminine, but she seems to have some form of scoliosis, much like myself, and spine issues. So poor soul, right? But she has her right hand embracing the other. So she needs support from a masculine. She is in the state because she was granted the ability to be in the state, in the physical, while she's processing all of this. And you may argue that she's actually channeling or invoking. So she can also be associated with the high priestess, calling back to sexuality, nakedness, naked in front of divinity and so on, devoid of personality. But again, she maintains some. So apparently her main protection will be head and feet. Feet because it's duality again, where you go, that's united in the head. But most importantly, what is she guarding? If you are a behavioral analyst or a mentalist, generally speaking, you can actually know that this is a position, yes, it's fetal position, but it's very vulnerable. Still, is it? What is she protecting? Because her eyes are closed, but she's looking up. There's faith. She's not looking down. She's not in that phase of the processing, whereas you need to go inside and accept, integrate, forgive, release, right? Humility and acceptance and pain and shame. And no, her head is back up. She's done with that process, but she's protecting her heart. So the choice. No matter what, go right, go north. She's elevated above the waters, and from the waters creatures rise. If you look at it, it's kind of a symbolism of, the flood, Noah. So the box, we can also associate with Pandara's box. Is it a jack in there? Is it the jack spirit that's below hers and she dominates him? Or she births him, literally, from the waters, it is birth, right? And she's the channel, the vessel for that. Are the birds coming from the box? Wait a minute. Is she covering... the box, or is she covering herself? Is this knowledge that she has, much like the high priestess energy, that she cannot impart? Hence the importance of the head covering. But again, her gaze is up. She's completely vulnerable, yet she's not. The channel is there. And again, duality and all meets here. So she's protecting the heart because she's centered in the heart. She brought the mind down to the heart. That's a hermetic process. I may actually speak of those levels once. But yeah. Netzach. And we also see flies, back to Lord of Flies, and Aries, lead the leaders, emperors, rulers, and new ones about to come to the surface. All the rest have to fall. The Carabia. You see the name? Arabia. And back to primordial waters. What breeds will we get to still have here? Our perception of genetics and how the cycles unfold, scientific implications of all the corruption and deception and misunderstandings and so on. So the feet because duality and our walk, our path, all right, and how we alternate. Everybody has to understand that. 2 hands, 2 feet, 2 lungs, 2 kidneys. Focus on what is already in and on its own integrated. For example, sense of smell, air. It was affected for a reason. We can actually, through smell, detect and receive a lot more information than we think. That's the reason why when they used to do actual genuine sciences, because they mock that as well. So we think that never happened. Yes, it did. Everybody can tell you in the presence of an actual spirit that's trying to manifest this strongly, has breached strongly to the point whereas they actually get some form of an attempt to come into form here, not just overtake something or attach itself to something, work through someone, but get their own ability to exist. It's the smell of gas. It's gas. In other forms, it's just thoughts. In others, they're the impulses, instincts, such as hunger, lust. But they always have to have something in this realm for them to be able to affect anything or any. Example, actual hunger, if associated or triggered by centers of taste, or what we associate as such, hence why our sense of taste also has been affected. We can no longer actually detect actual taste of food. Isn't that interesting? Air is intellect, principalities of air. Associate with what? Thoughts, communication, right? Connection in general. Law, legality, justice. If we get all of the Trinity, the 3 signs, right? The 3 air signs, then we get why that was affected. Taste, I would rather associate it with water. And that's affected as well. Water, air, fire. Did you notice there's no earth here? Because it's all dependent on this important process. So anyway, what was I saying? You see, spirits of confusion. So the first form, I was speaking about why one actually needs the food. Is the taste as triggered. Memory or remembrance of the taste and so on. Those signals are actually sent from the parasites. Somebody sends them, cause and effect. Yeah, there has to be a cause to it. If there's no actual genuine hunger, but there's a sensation of hunger, then reality is just gluttony, right? Spirit of gluttony. It's just something you associate with a memory, past memory of a taste, and sometimes even a smell that may actually not smell as good as you remember it to smell, basically. And the associations we make, and yeah, you're gonna get that food. That's how powerful those signals are. But who is it that's telling you? It's your brain. They send signals to the brain. They have access to your brain. So, corruption of the seed. Here's the cross. You see it? Rulers over the what? The spheres, the sephirah, the worlds, the level of existence, eggs, if you want to, cosmic eggs, circles, cycles. It's the feminine, it's the womb, it's the world. Many, many blessings, and hey, You're not alone in making these connections. Truth is truth. We're all going to tap into it. The downsides of it is, the painful process of mourning all the positive things we thought we had about the old world. Were they positive? Just because they gave us an immediate sensation of positivity. We're grateful we got this far. We needed to explore them. We wouldn't get to the stage if we didn't go for that. But it was still some sort of a daze and haze and fucking hell, no matter how we put it. We just don't want it anymore. We're done. We're over it. Whomever chooses to stay there, we cannot help them. Let's just say that the majority at this point kind of calls the shots. And yes, that implies sacrifice in both senses. The sacrifice necessary for us to actually be able to want something different, to our level of desire to change, the humanity in us, the connection to be revealed. And that has to be as pure and as innocent as possible. Peace be upon them. So of course we're in mourning for that. We're also in mourning for those who did not make it at different stages. And there's a category though of those that are being taken from the world that we shouldn't mourn if they've been taken naturally. And there are those that actually, I truly feel that they're not really meant to witness this, or live rather with this with us at this point. This is our battle, it's our opportunity, it's our trial, we are the last generation, here to assist the first. Anything in between, they make their choices, and we can only protect the genuinely vulnerable. Anyone else is expendable, including us. But nothing's for nothing. Shalom.